Well, guys, it's been a little bit of a bittersweet week. We had Fable 5 switch over to usage, which bummed a lot of us out. But big news on the Opus front. We've upgraded from Opus 4.8 to Opus 5. And by the looks of it, I mean, you look at most of these benchmarks, and obviously the agentic terminal coding is way up, even compared to Fable 5, compared to GPT 5.6 Soul. One of the most incredible pieces on here is the novel problem solving. So you look at the ARC AGI 3 score. Opus 5 is really in a category all its own here, 30.2% versus 7.8% for GPT 5.6 Soul. And what does that mean exactly? The goal of the ARC benchmark is really to see how these models react in new environments and beyond just memorization, right? It's how can they interpret this new environment and then create their own set of rules based on kind of a trial and error sequence in that environment. So it's very interactive and it really tests the overall intelligence of the model compared to a human being, for example. And this is where novel problem solving comes into play. It's how quickly and how effectively can this model solve new unforeseen issues in these different environments that it's never experienced. And so up until really GPT 5.6 Soul, we were seeing about a 1% compared to humans being theoretically 100%, right? Because we create our own systems and so forth. So now to see a jump all the way from 1% in Opus 4.8 to the 7% in GPT 5.6, which was big, but now seeing it all the way up to 30.2%, it's a little scary, but it's also pretty incredible in a lot of ways too. I think for people who are looking at new and novel ways to help them create their systems, whether they run an agency, a business, any kind of business, I think this is potentially a tool that could really help you get somewhere when it comes to those core processes. And one of the most exciting parts of this release is Opus 5 will be at the same cost to Opus 4.8. So you're getting effectively a pretty large leap in benchmarks, but you're not having to pay an arm and a leg for that increase, which I'm personally very happy about. And in terms of overall coding, Opus 5 pretty much blows away every other benchmark, including from Fable, when it comes to both cost and overall scoring. Now, one of the biggest concerns about all this, of course, is security, as it should be in most cases, because Click did announce that there are going to be fewer guardrails around this Opus 5 than in previous iterations. And like this article talks about, we've already seen companies coming out with these delegated authentication models, like 1Password is developing for Claude, as a way to provide temporary credentials to the AI agents rather than just handing over the keys to the kingdom. And I think that's going to be super important for any business that's running these AI agents, or I should say, that's running Opus 5 in an AI agent environment. Now, another exciting feature that Claude's released is voice mode. Now, this is going to let you have spoken conversations with Claude, whereas like in the past, you can do voice to text, but you still end up with a kind of a written prompt and it can get some of the things you're saying wrong. And the one thing I don't like about it currently is like it'll cut you off when you're in the middle of something. And so I'll have to keep switching the microphone back on and retelling it things. And it can be a little bit of a drag that way. Well, now apparently you can enable voice mode on the web and on the desktop app, and it lets you speak to Claude and hear Claude's voice responses kind of more in real time and more of a conversational workflow. And the best part is you can connect it to all of your different tools and your connectors, whether that's having Claude help you sort through your Gmails, your calendars, your Slack, any other tools you have connected. It can help you access them a lot faster. And for those of you who are multilingual or you have different language considerations, it's going to be offered in many more languages than before. So this is really exciting for anyone doing that. There's also a hands-free mode where Claude listens continuously, responds to your natural pauses in your speech. And there's a push-to-talk mode. So if you're in a crowded environment, this might be an easier way for you to get the voice-to-text capability across without mixing and mashing the other noises that are around you. So anyway, just another nice usability step here. And if you have Claude on your phone, this could be a great way to interact with it as well. I'm thinking people that are commuting, traveling, this could be a good way to go through, your meeting notes for the day when you're on the train going to work or waiting for your flight to leave. This is a good way to stay on top of things without going through the entire process of opening up the Claude desktop app on your computer or your tablet and trying to iterate that way. And it's just, I think this might be a lot easier for those type of people. So I know there's a lot of these updates. They're coming fast and heavy these days. And it's hard to say that this one is that much more spectacular than others. But when we look at the benchmarks, we can see that there's a lot to be excited about here. And especially for those of us where price has been a major consideration so far. I know for a lot of my work, I've been kind of sticking more towards the Sonnet route because Sonnet is, in my opinion, very, very good at most things. But it will be nice to have that kind of next level element of reasoning that Opus brings and now Opus 5 brings, and have access to that at kind of a cheaper price than I was expecting. Again, I still think I will use Sonnet for a lot of the daily tasks that I do routinely, but to have this option of basically having the Fable type of brain, more or less, but in a less cost prohibitive way in Opus 5, I think that will be beneficial. Looking for maybe that next level insight and confirmation when they're trying to create their systems, project folders, and organizational things like that. This could be something that can sort of talk you through it and help point you in the right direction. Because again, I always say, don't let AI think for you. You need to be the one thinking, use your expertise. People pay you money for your expertise, but you can use AI as a supplement to make better decisions and really save time in the areas that you shouldn't be spending too much time on. So with that said, thanks a lot for watching. This is super exciting. I'm going to mess around with this a lot this week, as I'm sure you will as well. And we'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.